Gil here with Sailing Vessel DreamChaser, and in this week's episode we do a couple of different miscellaneous things, from adjusting the gear shifter to doing some varnishing on actually last affair. So I hope you enjoy the video. Sorry it's a little bit of snippets. It's what we had going on this week. No big major projects. But first, just a little bit of McKinley. She was so darn cute here, trying to explain to me how fish swim in the sea, and she had her little play fish and a little play can of corn that she was acting like she was feeding them. But listen, I'm biased. I find it cute.
Let's swim in the ocean when the cats fly in the air. When their wings get wet.
When their wings get wet and land on the water, the fish eat them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A single handle gear shifter, so when it's in neutral and it's sitting up at the top, you can actually pull out a small knob and then you can push the throttle either forward or backward just to rev up the throttle without putting it in gear. You push that small knob in, and as you push the throttle lever forward, it engages it into gear, so it adjusts the transmission into forward, and then it accelerates up the further you push it. When you come back to neutral, it applies it back to neutral. Theoretically, when you go back into reverse, it would do the exact opposite, right? It shifts it into reverse, but still throttles up the engine. We're having problems where when we put it in forward, everything works fine. When we put it in reverse, it wasn't quite putting it into gear far enough, and I found that if I sort of opened up the top of the axis panel to get to the gear shifter, and I applied just a small amount of downward pressure with my finger, it would shift into reverse. So clearly it needs some adjustment, but in order to see which direction I needed to adjust it, I needed to go set up a camera down in the engine compartment and also make some adjustments at the helm station to see what I was looking at. So you'll see it here.
So you can see here, as I shift it into forward, you can see that lever on the upper side lifting up. That actually moves the gear shifter toward forward. So down below you can see what it actually looks like there. And then as I go ahead and put it back into neutral, you'll see the gear shifter go back again to neutral. Now the challenge here is when going in reverse, just the opposite happens, it goes down. But when we go down below and we look, what was happening is you can see it go backwards, but it's not quite going back far enough. So if I were to go up top and just apply some pressure with my hand and just push downward on this little lever a little bit, you'll see down below here exactly what's occurring. You'll see it just push that little bit further, and that's enough to engage it into reverse. So obviously I have an adjustment to make.
I also wanted to start getting a little bit of work done on last affair's cockpit combing. The varnish had just about worn off, and it really needed to be scraped and kind of reworked. So took the opportunity of a little bit of extra time to do just that. And we'll show you some of that here too.
I just want to make some progress on something, so we're going to go ahead and do the cockpit combing on the last affair. I just started scraping it, just about done now. Give it a light sand in a minute. So I'm not going to pull all the hardware off, I'm going to kind of just go around it, but just a matter of taking the scraper, going with the grain, get off any old varnish that's on it. This is pretty weathered, so it's coming off fairly easily. These work best if you, the grain's going this way, you go at about a 45-degree angle. You gotta make sure you don't go that way, you gotta go with the grain, but it cuts a little better that way. And now I can go right at the angle of the cleat and pull it straight back toward me. Get that varnish right off there. While I'm here, I'm gonna give this top a light scrape too. I should probably pull this whole piece up, but honestly, I just don't want to. When you're doing an edge, a rounded edge like this, you want to go really, really lightly, otherwise it will tend to gouge it. You don't want to round over the joint any more than it already is. So I like to go on the flat side, on each side, and that way you know just how much you have to really round over. Ooh, that's what you don't want to do. Look at that gouge I just put in there. I'm going to have to sand that out. These blades, you can just sort of get 4 uses out of them. I'm just going to start by flipping this around that way to start, before I turn it upside down and use the other sides. So on this boat, it looks like it's going to be fairly easy to get this cover off the companionway hatch. Basically just had to do a few screws right on this piece of wood here, where it went off of the lifting part over to the actual combing, same with the other side. And then I just took the screws off along this perimeter, and I believe I'll be able to just lift this right off of here. And then lift this. Yeah. Looks like it's going to come right off. And there we go. That's good. I'm going to go carry this over to the picnic table to avoid having to clean up on the boat. Now I don't have to worry so much about getting any of this on the boat. So I'm going to give this a shot. I've never used this before. It's very much like a teak whitener. It's called oxalic acid. You mix a few tablespoons, or 1 tablespoon to a quart actually. But it is oxalic acid, so you got to be careful. It's labeled as wood bleach. I got this at an Ace Hardware. You have to have the water hot. You should wear eye protection. I'm not right now. I'm going to be very careful. Not looking back at the bucket directly. You want to protect the areas around it, and the idea is to take it with a brush and apply a little bit to the wood. And it's going to remove the black spots, and it will ultimately lighten the wood as it goes. So give this a shot to see how it looks.
So while I was doing this, Deb was making this great Asian dinner with noodles and cabbage. It was kind of nice, gave us a good stopping point. But then I had to laugh at McKinley again. You crossing your feet?
What? Our feet like this.
Okay.
When we're sitting on the house.
So you're going to bounce one-footed on the top of the staircase?
Yeah,
I don't think you should do that.
I can do it.
I know you can, but what if you fall all the way down those steps? Land in the galley?
I won't.
She won't fall, you silly grandpa. Anyway, until next week, we're going to be working on some other projects a little more this week. Been traveling a little bit for work, so unfortunately I've not had the time to do a 2 or 3 days straight project. So, hey everybody, thanks for watching, and please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or even Tumblr. Please take a moment and go over to our website at svdreamchaser.com to download free resources for cruising and how-to projects. Get your thumbs and mouses ready. We also have a couple of links right on the screen for some other playlists and videos that we think you'll enjoy. Thanks for watching, fellow dreamers.